TPC alert. TPC alert.
Smite. You've been enlisted into a top secret live stream called Pull the Ultra Trigger, a weekly live watch and review featuring ENSHOHMA and Kaiju Noir. So strap yourself in to a brightly colored nitro-filled funny jet. It's time to pull the Ultra Trigger. Trigger.
I made that with the bitmap on the Windies.
I hope they don't hit each other too hard.
Smite it.
I am Mr. Red.
And I'm searching for my knight in shining armor. No way.
Oh, are you being sarcastic or sincere or a little bit both?
Smite it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's episode of Pull the Ultra Trigger with your hosts ENSHOHMA, myself, and of course...
Me, Andres Perez, aka Kaiju Noir.
Yes, and as proof that Kaiju Noir is indeed a little robot man, that was him lagging off a bit in the hello.
Beep boop.
Yeah. That's okay. It's better to be a robot than a crimson weirdo wizard. So, all right. So we got Tokupunk Productions in the chat, and he is very happy and excited to start. In fact, it's like when the theme song started, he said, "Yes, here we go." We have Warrior Keen. He says, "Nice intro rap." Thank you very much. That was I gathered the elements, but ultimately the editor for that was Brands Films, or Brayton of Brands Films, as I should say. And in the comments he says, "I've come to heckle this show and throw circus peanuts. And I just found more peanuts under the seat." Cool. All right. Anna Warrior King replies, "Circus peanuts, yay!" So, but no, Toku Punch brings up a good point here. He says this is the first truly great episode. Oh, and he also says happy 10 years of Kamen Rider IV, which is interesting because the people who helped create Kamen Rider IV, which is one of those tokusatsu series that on the surface seems way too plucky and happy, but after a couple episodes, it's like, what the hell? I'm at Disneyland. Let me enjoy myself. Yeah, it's weird. It's one of the few modern tokusatsu shows that's... I don't want to... Like, you think it's going to be obnoxious and annoying with all the simplistic, overly happy characters, but then, once you get into it, oh yeah, it's sincerely trying to be an upbeat series with likable people in it. So, as opposed to, like, Deca Ranger, where, that series seems to have an overly happy, fluffy side to it, but it just really just comes off as obnoxious and shallow for me. But... anyways, Mr. Kaiju Noir, how have you been doing, and how are you doing tonight?
I've been doing pretty dang good so far. Nope, not much has changed since our last installment of Pull the Ultra Trigger, and I'm just really happy for this particular episode, given that it is a variety of characters. There are going to be a variety of characters showing up in this particular installment. None the least, Ultraman Z. Our good old boy from star from last year.
Yeah, Ultraman Z turned out to be a major surprise. I think it's like I don't want to be so bold and say it's like the truly great Ultraman series of the Reiwa era, but but I'm very proud for its success. I'm proud that for the most part it's stuck to its gun and gave us a really good overarching story, despite the unfortunate behind-the-scenes circumstances behind its original writer. But thank God he actually left.
What happened? What happened with its original writer?
The original writer was I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he was a science fiction author who unfortunately died halfway into production.
Ouch.
But thankfully, unlike many other writers working in Japanese drama, he actually wrote a very extensive outline. So ultimately, at the end, Ultraman Z was his baby. So, as opposed to like other Japanese writers where you hear these horror stories and it's like, oh yeah, they didn't put a single thing down on paper, so they have to scramble to, finish the story without knowing how it was going to end. So, and if you've seen enough documentaries about behind-the-scenes makings of anime and other Japanese dramas, it's like, oh yeah, that happens way too often, so... With that said, no, Ultraman Z was a very good show, and it's great to see with a great cast of characters, some really good villains and monsters. And also, it was the first Ultraman series I think actually got some major notice here in America, largely because Tuberai Productions allowed it to be, permanently be available on their channel. And also, it got good praises from like mainstream online magazines. So even one of them going out of their way to say it was like one of the top 10 best TV shows of 2020. So, but anyways, what's your thought on Ultraman Z? I thought it stunk. No.
I unfortunately hadn't been able to finish Ultraman Z beyond the first 5 episodes that we watched together, simply due to my own scheduling, and that's what I enjoyed about doing Pull the Ultra Trigger, because it's one of those things that kind of forces me to keep on track of a show like this. But from the few episodes that I've seen of Ultraman Z, it seemed to be a really fun show that carries a lot of the enjoyable creative spirit that I saw in Ultraman X and currently with Ultraman Trigger. Sure, again, there's still those toyetic elements, but they're nowhere near as egregious as Sentai and Kamen Rider. I won't go any further, since at this point I'd be repeating myself.
Okay, that's more than alright. And Goji Shea is in the audience. Says, good thing that I have a TV, phone, and tablet, so I can have both you and Raph and Titan Goji's watch party on. So, is Titan Goji doing his last of his Gundam triple feature tonight?
I believe so. That, or maybe he's already finished.
Okay, so yeah. With that says, didn't you show up on one of them? Or you're going
No, I unfortunately did not have the time.
No, okay. Yeah, it's like...
I'm like James Rolfe. I don't have time for anything.
I'm too busy putting tripods on my ceiling. It's like, I'll make a quick note. I just want everyone to know I still like James Rolfe. I think he's a fairly nice gentleman, and his accomplishments have outweighed his failures. But ever since he started working with the quote-unquote slobs, it's like those 3 gigantic Udara-shaped lemmings. It's like, after, I don't know what to call them. I'm trying to say something offensive without being offensive, you know what I mean? But yeah, thanks to the slobs, I had to officially unsubscribe from his channel, because, it's like, yay, James Rolfe. Oh, those guys. So,
and if you've seen James Rolfe's behind the scenes video, I do highly recommend checking out this other podcast where they analyzed everything wrong with James's productions, where it's like he's working way too hard to solve an issue that could be solved rather easily.
Yeah,
methods that don't require wrapping tripods to the ceiling with chicken wire.
Yeah, on one hand, I kind of sympathize with James Rolfe, because I've kind of been in that same mindset where I, accidentally find myself working way harder than I should, easier. So much so that there have been times where I suddenly notice a small detail open up, and it's like, I could have done this the whole time and saved myself 6 hours of work. It's like, hence me discovering the paint bucket on Photoshop after 5 years of using the program.
It just goes to show, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, but I will also add on to it that sometimes it's hard to work smarter when you're not, have problems or something of that nature. I guess.
And you'd expect Screenwave to help out with that, which apparently they're not.
Yeah,
but this is not an episode about Cinemassacre. This is about Ultraman. God damn it!
And with that says Mr. Mr. Kaiju Noir. Oh no, I almost made no, whatever. Will you do us the honors and with our usual tradition and read the episode description I've written for tonight? Let me post it in the private chat.
Ultraman Z and his human host partner, Haruki Natsukawa, from the beloved series Ultraman Z, pops into the marketable continuity, universe of Ultraman Trigger for an epically marketable team-up with our current set of marketable heroes. Meanwhile, the intergalactic treasure hunter, Ignis, meets the dastardly alien pirate, Barossa IV, and do what relic seekers and takers do best when they're alone: show off each other's booty!
Yeah! Okay, so let's quickly go through the comments right now. Warrior King says, I agree that Ultraman has more control over the toyetic elements than the other two big Toku franchises. That is true. Though it's still certainly there. That is also unfortunately true. And Toku Punch says, Kamen Rider Saber, the series before the newest Kamen Rider show that came out today, Revice, was slap-in-your-face toy commercial every 5 episodes, then kill off caricature for more toys. So, holy crap. All right. So, and of course, Toku Punch Productions is happy for Ultraman Z. So, all right. So, going into this, before we go into this episode, any final thoughts? Because this is the first of a 2-part, hopefully 3-part crossover between Ultraman Trigger and Ultraman Z.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to say, are you excited about this? Or what, have you seen it? Or have
Yes.
You... Okay.
No. I don't know.
Okay. Let's just jump into the Ultraman Trigger sea and see if we sink or swim.
Pull the fucking trigger.
Indeed. Okay. Oh, so much for this being a kid's show running at 11 a.m. at night. 11 p.m. at night, Raph. Damn it. Okay. All right, let me open it on my end. Okay, and remember, audience, we have ad blockers currently on, so we're not going to see any YouTube-related commercials. So if there's a bit
Only the Ultraman-related commercials.
Yes, which are much more colorful and less intrusive, amazingly enough. So, all right.
And would occasionally feature Daigo.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Okay, so... Uh-oh, hold on, I got the white circle of death here. Okay. Okay, I'm ready when you are. So are you on 0?
Yep.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, Earth is destroyed.
End of series. Hey, it's Z and Avenger.
Yes. What's how true?
Okay, I never saw the ending of Z, so I'm assuming they turned Belial into a weapon.
Oh, actually, the weapon itself is born from Belial, but it's its own creature. So it's kind of like a nicer but still grumpy version of Belial.
That's weird, having like a toy version of your dad.
No, a clone sword of your dad. So.
And Avenger has his own personality now?
No, the pilot is inside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the girl who unfortunately will not be joining us on this crossover.
Damn.
Yeah, she's so cool no matter what robot she pilots.
Oh wait, there's King Joe.
Yeah, King Joe Custom. In Ultraman Z, they got... Oh, we'll explain that little guy later. They got a King Joe robot from a previous invasion, and then it augmented it with Earth technology to become King Joe storage. So it's like a...
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, they really dive deep in the giant robot fun with Ultraman Z.
Right, it's about damn time that the humans started developing giant robots to help out the humans, but with this series and Trigger.
Mm-hmm. Personally, though, since this is an Ultraman Trigger homage, I really do hope that at one point we see...
You mean TIGA?
TIGA, yeah, Ultraman TIGA homage. I really hope they somehow reference either Geoshark or Mountain Gulliver, who were both like giant robots created by humans from TIGA and Dyna. So...
Okay.
Yeah.
Although so far, for a show that's supposedly an homage to TIGA, there isn't honestly a whole lot of homages to TIGA.
Yeah.
Besides Guts and I don't know, 2 monsters, there's almost like no...
Well, there was the Darkness Giants, there was Golba, that was 2 kaiju rolled in one, and yes, there was Gazort.
Right, so three episodes out of 7 so far.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I think the main reason for that is, they are somewhat on a budget, despite how good-looking this show is. So it's not like they can recreate and bring back old monsters whose costumes are no longer with us. Which is a shame, because I have been revisiting TIGA, and there are a lot of really cool monster ideas I'd love to see come back.
I told you!
Yeah. But they're still too damn short, and all their skin
Fuck you!
All their skin looks like tile from the Home Depot.
But it's cool tile.
So, Warriorkin says, I love the storage mechas from Ultraman Z. I hope there will be more such robots in the future. I agree. I wouldn't, I enjoyed Ultraman Z so much, the fact that it only stopped around like 25 or 26 episodes really kind of bummed me out. I'd like to see it continued or revisited in some manner. Even if they just have a thing where Ultraman Z and his robot friends are on the side, sort of like what they did with Ultraman Zero in Ultraman Geed. Uh-oh, they got rid of Daigo.
Oh no! It was bound to happen eventually. You replace the old model with the new.
Yeah. Damn.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, okay. I know, but we're not seeing the commercial where the Daigo actor is like, finally, I get to be on screen again. Thank you, Bandai.
Please help. He's like waking, doing Morse code. Please help me. Johnny has to be hostage.
Right. Warriorkin says, I'd love the TIGA monsters. I wish we could see more of them. Same here. Maybe you and I should just do like a one-off podcast where we just go over the TIGA monsters.
Sure. Although I would need to rewatch the entire series for that.
Yeah, okay. Well, then you have your homework. 50 episodes tomorrow, stat.
And you wonder why I can't keep up with modern Toku shows unless I have a responsibility and obligation for a live stream.
Yeah. It's nice you said that, because I was afraid that this was just a flivorous little wacky show that we were doing. But yeah, it's like no one's really, like, other than Kaiju no Kami, no one's really doing weekly updates about these shows.
Well, that's the thing, it's something that Matt Burkett brought up, which I guess we can talk about after this show, is that people and YouTubers in general, just for whatever reason, don't want to talk about Ultraman beyond like people like Kaiju no Kami or Mock Dent from Vintage Henshin.
Yeah, and Ultraman is it's so close to the original Kaiju genre that I really don't see how much of the...
We'll talk about it afterwards.
Yeah. That is a good composition shot right there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're definitely going with the alternate universes here.
I will say, it's very interesting that you have technology from one anti-kaiju force teaming up with another, or interacting with another.
Yeah.
Because we never get that. You're never going to see, like, Science Patrol meets Guts.
As awesome as that would be.
He's like, I know enough about the multiverse to know that's a King Joe.
Although notice he says it looks like an altered King Joe, so I guess it's in this universe King Joes have always been kind of villains, or maybe never attacked the Earth beforehand.
And I like that. They think that it's here to invade the Earth like any other King Joe.
Yeah. And again, I think I've mentioned in past live streams that King Joe is probably my favorite Ultraman monster. I love that there's so many different variations of him, much like there's so many different Mecha Godzillas. So. I adore sci-fi live-action sci-fi shows. Whenever they try to show the interiors of an alien ship, it's like, wait a minute, that's not a Dalek ship, that's somebody's butcher warehouse. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, I didn't know the Pandan aliens have a spaceship technology equal to Tuburai Productions' boiler room. That was funny.
There's a really nice reference that they brought back Bolton.
Yeah.
もしかしてあなたってこっちのウルトラ
彼は混乱しているようなので尋問をオルトマナ方に行います。なんでケント僕もすごい興味あるから任せてください。なんで
It's a secret, you butthead.
やっぱりウルトラマンなんですね。当てずっぽうで言ったんですか。いや、なんとなく感じたんです。俺もウルトラマンだって。ハルキ、この際こっちに入ってもらっちゃいなさい。おっ。誰？
That's right, yeah. So it's really interesting because you got one Ultraman who's got his own personality, and then you got Trigger who's got zero personality, and it's just an avatar for the main protagonist.
Nice to meet you.
Ultraman Z.
Now that's just stupid.
Nice to meet you.
あなたもそうなんじゃないんですか。
僕マナカケン
There's something endearing about Ultraman Z trying to speak in English.
彼がそのウルトラマンご本人ということだな。ああ、そういうことですか。
That's another thing I always liked about Ultraman Z. There was a lot more interaction between the human host and the Ultra hero. So
Same for X.
yes, that is true. Although he got way more talkative in like the second half than he was the first half. So
And I do like it. They actually acknowledge how different this universe's Ultraman is to the typical one.
yes.
Unfortunately, they don't sell this model anymore at Toys R Us, so I can't use it.
I do like this bit of interaction, just like, oh yeah, this is how the toy works. But it's done in like it's done like in sort of like a comical, mundane manner, as opposed to like if you saw in like Kamen Rider.
Oh no, actually, I see it more as like kids sharing their literal toys with each other.
大変ですね。キングジョーも持って帰れないし。わかりました。僕たちも手伝います。
Laura Fitkins in the chat, she says, why that turd has Mothra eyes? Oh, that's Alien Barossa, who's on the screen right now. He is an insectoid space pirate. So.
I love this interaction. It's adorable.
Yeah. Oh, if you look at... Okay, notice the little device Ignis has here? That's Alien Zarab's communication device from the original Ultraman.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that's the great thing about this episode that you're going to see Ignis and Barossa both being treasure hunters / space pirate. They're going to be showing off a lot of obscure references to each other.
Cool.
You know, I've watched these live shows. It's amazing how relatively well rehearsed these are. And, like, either they're real professionals and they can handle the limited vision inside those monster suits, or there's a lot of mistakes and bloopers and we're just seeing like an edited together perfect version from multiple shows.
Well, I figured there's got to be a lot of rehearsals.
Yeah. And it's like, as bad as some of the monster costumes look in these live shows, it's great to see like lesser known and obscure characters get the limelight.
True.
Yeah, Ultraman killed us! How can we shop when you just destroyed us, Ultraman? Okay, there's Alien Barossa on the screen right now.
エタニティコアを狙ってきたようには見えません。ですが周辺を引っかき回してはくれそう。
This is a great shot.
ユーザレも巻き込んで暴れてくれる分にはこちらにとって好都合だからね。ここやめてください。どこが痛いんだ。ほれほれ。しつこいなもう。
Baby Xandirus and Pirate. Oh, okay. You still there, Andres?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
ウルトラメダルが手に入っただけでもよしとするみゃ。あとは元の次元にどう戻ったものみゃ。
そいつがウルトラメダルか。
貴様何やつみゃ。
宇宙一のトレジャーハンターイグニスだ。そのメダルは俺がいただくぜ。
トレジャーハンター？ただの盗人ではないか。これは誇り高き宇宙海賊バロッサ星人のものみゃ。
盗人だ。海賊の方が盗人じゃねえか。
トレジャーハンターも同じみゃ。
ちげえよ。てめえらのは略奪。俺のはロマンだ。
略奪の中にもロマンはある。我々は常に銀河中のお宝を探し吟味し、そして全力で奪うのである。これほどの快楽と優越があろうか。いや、ないみゃ。
So is the little guy just translating what Barossa is saying?
Yes. And we'll
okay.
Talk,
Or
go on.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, we'll talk more about the baby Xandirus later.
Okay.
That's from
I'm really liking their chemistry here.
Yeah. That ball is from Ultraman 80. It's an Orkin ball.
Oh, nice.
That's from Ultraman Mebulus. Oh, that's actually a little monster from Ultraman TIGA.
Oh, I recognize it.
Yeah. I don't know what those two are.
Imagine like one of them busts out like the beta capsule or the Ultra Eye. One of them takes out like a Dino Buckler from Jew Ranger.
Oh, even better, a little model jet from Eisenborg. Like, I don't recognize that.
Right.
Me neither.
One of them takes out like an action figure of Tiga. It's like, wait, we can't show that. Johnny will sue us.
Ranzit Film says, one thing I truly admire is the blunt transparency of this series. It is in the most literal term a 30-minute toy commercial with dialogue bits thrown in, and it dares you to deal with it.
Trust me. Trust me, Brayton. If you think this is a toy commercial, just watch an episode of Sentai or Kamen Rider.
Exactly. Remember when you thought
you'll be wishing that you could be watching Ultraman at that point.
Right. Yeah. Remember, you once thought Godzilla's Revenge was terrible, and then we showed you Super Monster and then Space Warriors 2000. There is always something worse out there.
It's kind of like Team 4 Stars, Goku and Vegeta. It's like, let's go, best buddy. Shut the fuck up, Kakarot.
I honestly can't see how you can not have fun filming this show. So.
Yeah, pretty sure you'd never imagine an alien and an actor just like fighting in the middle of a baseball field, baseball stadium.
Yes. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the little plant seed that Barossa just devoured, it's a Juron flower. The Juron flower is a monster from Ultra Q that was also direct inspiration for the Legion plant in Gamma 2.
You know, it's very convenient that they happen to share every species of alien and kaiju across the multiverse for this Metron alien to recognize them all.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, a King Joe. Thankfully, we have them in this universe, too. Oh, an alien Barbossa. Thankfully, we have another one of those as well.
I think it is a nice... You bring up a good point to be cynical about, but it's also kind of a nice consistency, as opposed to other shows and science fictions where only humans are the only Earth-based life forms, are the only constant across other dimensions, and that there are no, like, different versions of different aliens here and there. So... Oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Tubai Productions has the original Mirror Man airing weekly on their main channel, but they usually do it late at night here in the States. Due to the time
Mirror
difference.
Man, that's my favorite JoJo stand.
Yeah! That one looks like Iggy Pop, right? Okay. Yeah, but anyways, so if you guys want to watch something new Ultraman-ish from the 70s, it's airing on Tubai Productions later tonight, although I think that would be like around 10 o'clock our time, which is going to be way later for you guys. And then Brayton says, I agree in the highest respect, but let's remember, just because something is worse doesn't make it less bad. Oh, Brayton. We almost had him back with Starro the Conqueror, but then we ruined it with our 4Kids Ultraman fun. And then Warrior King says, Agito is like, oh god, now there's two of them? Referring to the two Ultra hosts. When first meetings at conventions go horribly wrong.
Ultraman Trigger, multi-type. Superior. Ultraman Trigger, multi-type.
He's like, no, wait, stop. I don't want to fight. I'm just here for some medals.
They're mine now, sucker! Barossa, ow!
Now, is this the first time where we have Ultraman fighting an alien as opposed to a monster, not counting the trio?
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay.
Warrior King is doing the voice of Barossa. You dumb bastard! Give me back my collectibles! It's out of print!
It's been a while since we had a really silly episode like this.
Yes.
Oh, wait. That looks familiar.
Yeah, I don't recognize it either. That's the thing about Barossa. He just pulls out references from his proverbial behind. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, the giant fish was the living weapon of a Daimajin-style fisherman from Ultraman Mebulus. That made no sense.
He's like, wait a minute. He's like, why is this talking? Of course, he had to retire the original toy so he can get another one. He's like, what the fuck does Zestia mean?
God, the interaction between these two. It's great.
He's like, I just got it 10 seconds ago.
I just love how the giant Ultraman is like, is that going to go off again? Don't hurt me. Now we're cooking with gas. Warrior King, the fish screaming business is booming. Again, it's a giant golem fisherman, so it's, you know, basically saying that business is booming because it's a good fish, or some of that nature.
I love the eyes even turn off.
Yeah.
Oh, he's actually talking now.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, you can we can definitely, like, this confirms it that, like, Kengo can talk through in his TIGA form.
Yeah. By the way, that sword Barossa has, I think that's from a giant alien robot from Ultraman Max.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that is pretty interesting. You never see, like, the suit actors climbing on the models.
Right. If we were giant monsters, I too would start throwing cars.
And chucking buildings like it's Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee.
Right. Or the ending of Evangelion 3.0.
Plus 1.0.
Plus 1.0. Yeah, I forget there's... The fourth movie is the third movie.
Because remember, Evangelion is nothing more than Anno's glorified Ultraman fanfiction.
Mm-hmm. It does look like fun, Ignis, I agree. Uh-oh. Category!
Now, why did you need to change the subtitles there?
Don't know.
Now let's see whose weapon is stupider. It's like, back off, we got toys and we're not afraid to use them.
You know, I think Barossa's kind of grown on me. I wasn't impressed with the character back in Z, but I can see that they're trying to do like an old school alien with a neat gimmick.
And that's cool, the whole time they're playing the Ultraman Z theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because that's how he always flies away.
Yeah. Was that an Ultraman 66 reference? A present from the sky, if you will? God, I wish I could get some sushi. Right. Well, thank goodness. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the OBS kind of disconnected, but it came back on. So if there's a little lag, you'll know what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, we've enjoyed past episodes of Ultraman Z, but this was unapologetically fun. I really enjoyed this one.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like this crossover in particular took more advantage of the fact that it's, characters from different universes crossing over and exploring each other's concepts, more so than any other series I've seen before in the past, because in previous Ultraman shows, whenever an Ultraman from one universe shows up in another, they never really get the time to just sort of explore the similarities and differences between how each universe works. Rather, it's just, oh, hey, here's this Ultraman. He showed up, and he's going to kick ass, and now he's gone.
Yeah, so...
even with, like, Ultraman Z, they had Ultraman... No, was it? I think it was Jeed. Jeed had Ultraman Zero involved, but Zero barely interacted. What?
No, we got to see the preview. You guys... I'm so excited by this. I'm sorry. And we'll talk about this in a minute.
Oh yeah, the Dada episode.
Yes, but
so Z is sticking around.
Yeah, but notice the Dada. It's not the traditional.
Yeah, I know. It's Power Dada.
Yeah, and I'm so excited about that. But we'll talk more about Power Dada. Go and finish your thoughts. I just get so excited when I see that.
I'm just really glad that they got the chance to let the characters. Oh, there he is. Be sure to check out Ultraman Z, now available on DVD and Blu-ray.
As well as every episode of Ultraman Z is permanently available on the Tuberira YouTube channel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I feel like they allowed for more interactions between the two characters, and that I'm really glad that, because like I said, in past crossovers, they just had the Ultraman show up and essentially, do what he did last time, and that's that. But here, they actually get the time to have the characters interact, learn about each other, especially given how Ultraman functions really differently in Trigger compared to Z.
Right.
Ultraman is not a separate character. Rather, it's Ultraman and Kengel are one and the same.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's... I've seen enough crossovers in tokusatsu and anime to know that there's ones where the characters truly interact and get to play off each other's quirks and details. But then there's other ones where they keep the characters incredibly separate, or you barely know anything about the previous character. Like Super Sentai is particularly bad about this. If you got a good writer who's familiar with both series...
Oh god, yeah. When it comes to like Sentai and Kamen Rider, like the previous Sentai team or the previous Kamen Rider shows up, and like best case scenario, it's just a suit actor with like stock audio clips.
Oh yeah, definitely. Or worse, the new team overpowers the old team to such a point. It's like, why do we even have the old team here? It's like when comic book writers who have loved Batman, have done tons of Batman comics, they're asked to do a comic where Batman meets the Justice League. Suddenly the Justice League all look like dopes compared to Batman.
It just turns into Batman and his bitches.
Yeah, exactly. Like a perfect example would be like the ToQger meets Go Busters. The Go Busters were completely useless, while ToQger were like practically invincible. So,
like, watch out, we're the new people here. Check out how cool and hip we are as the newest model. Yeah,
exactly. So, thankfully, again, yes, Brayton, Ultraman is a toy commercial amongst a sea of other Japanese toy commercials. But at least
it's a fun toy commercial, damn it!
Which is exactly what Brayton said in the comments. He says, that was a damn good toy. And then Toku...
And that's the other thing. I really love that Ultraman Z is actually going to stick around a bit longer.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Because that almost never happens with Ultraman. They just stick around for one episode and then off they go.
Yeah, so granted though, I think it's only going to be for 2 episodes. But if they have Ultraman Z stick around a little bit longer throughout the series, I wouldn't be against that at all. Because I love the characters, and I'd like to see, 2 Ultraman against monsters is really fun, so... Okay.
Now, did you see any episodes of Ultraman G beyond the 3 that we watched and reviewed?
Oh yes, I have the whole Ultraman G series. I really enjoyed that a lot. I know.
So, how did they handle Zero? Because Zero was turned into a supporting character in that series.
Really well, I think, because he is a truly supporting character. What happens is when Ultraman Zero comes to Earth, he has to take on a human host, and he chooses this Japanese salaryman / father, who's a really good character in his own right. And it's funny because the voice actor for Ultraman Zero actually gets to play the father salaryman host. So, but the great thing is that there's a great dichotomy between the two characters. Ultraman Zero, of course, is the quintessential ultra badass.
Quintessential.
Say that again?
Quintessential.
Badass in the Ultraman series. While the father is a humorously kind of shy and klutzy, but not to like a ridiculously upsetting point like you see in like Kamen Rider, where characters are way too broad for their own good. So yeah, and of course it was an interaction like Ultraman Z. The Ultraman hero routinely talked to his human hosts and vice versa. And they did this great gag where whenever Ultraman Zero needed to take over the human body to, either talk with people or fight like basic ruffians in the street, he'll take the glasses off as like a reverse of the eye slugger in Ultra 7. So, yeah, the normal guys' glasses, if that makes any sense. But no, I think they handled the... and Ultraman Geed was sort of the last hurrah for Ultraman Belial as far as the big villain of the Ultraman franchise. Because, again, he's fighting his clone son. His clone son is the one who ultimately defeats him. So I think it was smart to bring in Ultraman Zero to help Ultraman Geed finally finish Belial once and for all. But no, I think that series handled it incredibly well. I don't think they're going to be able to do the same with Ultraman Z here. I think he is just going to stick around for maybe an episode or two. Although I really don't see how fighting the digital Dadas are going to be the way out for him to go back to his own home world. So I'm personally thinking he's going to stick around for at least 3 episodes. But with that said, I know you're not very impressed, and a lot of other people are, but I am goddamn happy that we're getting such an obscure character coming
Why
back next
do you
week.
think I'm unimpressed?
I don't know. It's like, look, it's digital Dada.
I already had my freak out moment.
Okay, all right, sorry about that. So but no, it's funny because a couple of weeks ago when we were doing this show with Gubira, we were lamenting how I really wish the show would just bring back more obscure monsters, or at least attempt to create... Because, yeah, we've seen Gubira and other standby monsters all the time. And it sucks that when they create new monsters, it's usually at the disservice of recycling the costume of a previously cooler, newer monster they introduced in a past series. And I know that they're limited on a budget, so it's very unlikely you can make like brand new monster costumes for Gatazola or Sakuna Oni that easily. But, the fact that... And granted, the digital Dada from Ultraman Powered is a ridiculously simplistic costume. Just get a glitter spandex and an oversized head mask. But at the same time, I'm honestly ecstatic to see such a offbeat, bizarre choice to choose from for the next episode of Ultraman Z. And the fact...
because it is a show, is an original Ultraman 66 monster alien, yet... Like, anytime they bring back an old school character, it tends to be only the Showa version, nothing more.
Yeah.
So if you see Gomora, it's not any other Gomora other than the original design of Gomora. Yeah. But in this case, we're getting an old school character like Dada, but it's not the original Dada, despite the fact that they have brought original Dada back multiple times. They have a perfectly... good quality costume for original Dada, but instead they went the extra mile and made a new costume of another version of Dada from 20-30 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, am I that old? Yeah, because...
Yes, we're all getting old, Ralph.
Yeah, indeed.
Everything from the 90s is now turning 30.
Oh my god. So it's like...
We are now closer to 2050 than we are to 1990.
I was an 80s kid who discovered fandom in the 90s as a teenager, so it's like, oh my god, it's it's like, I bet 90s kids are getting scared after reaching 30. Well, listen, 90s kids, all right, 60 is the new 30. You're okay for another 20 years. All right, but with that said, though, yeah, it's like if you look at the costume, they were ridiculously faithful to the original costume, complete with, I like Ultraman Powered Dada, but I can't stand those hands. Those ridiculous little glove hands that they clearly created at the last second. And of course, infamously, the original Ultraman Powered Dada, they the feet were so ungainly with its 3 giant claws, fingers sticking in different ways that was impossible for the actor to move around. And you can definitely see that in the episode itself. And granted, that episode of Ultraman Powered with the Dada is not one of their best episodes. Like, there's a board meeting that feels like it's 10 minutes long out of a 30-minute episode. So, but with that said, yeah, I'm honestly ecstatic that they're bringing back such an obscure variation of an otherwise popular Ultraman monster, like you said. Granted, though, since you mentioned that, I do want to add on the Powered Dada, which we'll call him. He's Dada. Yeah, Powered Dada. He is...
Or as Titan Goji says, Dada, more like Dottie.
Yeah, the Powered Dada, he is so bizarrely removed from the original Dada because in that American series that was never sold to the United States, he is a sentient... Despite being produced in the United States originally for an American audience. Yeah, and I just talked to Kevin Dorendorf and Vintation. Darendorf and Vintation earlier today. And
Henshin.
They both told me that the production behind Ultraman Powered was incredibly shady, both from the American and Japanese side of things. So my best guess is because Tuburai Productions had such a terrible time with Ultraman Towards the Future, that when they were doing Ultraman Powered, it turned out to be an even worse crap fest than the first time around. So think of it like how easy it was for Ed Wood to make the Sinister Urge, but when that film turned out to be a dud in the box office, he was forced to do something like Plan 9. That's how I feel what happened between Ultraman Towards the Future and Ultraman Powered. And in Ultraman Powered, the Dada in that series was a sentient computer virus that absorbed humans to gain a physical form. So I don't know if they're going to go that dark, but they are definitely playing around with the fact that this is a digital Dada. And from what I understand, they're going to combine the origins a bit. So this is a digital clone of the real-life Dada. So you can have your cake and eat it too as far as continuity goes. But yeah, I am very excited to see what happens with... although with that says, I doubt we're going to have a very energetic battle. Hence the reason why I think it's obvious that Dada is taking over the Kinjo storage.
Right. So maybe he's going to fight through King Joe as opposed to fight himself, because that's the funny thing about those those American-made Ultraman costumes. They were very, very fragile, and they were not made for like physical rough and tumble like combat.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it also probably didn't help that they had no idea how to film a monster fight scene. Like, I know Steve Wang helped on the creature effects, but where was he to actually do the fight scenes and the choreography? He was really good at that. Steve Wang...
Maybe they couldn't afford him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's like, you made the monster suits, but we're not going to have you direct or do the action sequences. And of course, Steve Wang was the spearhead of Guyver 2 Dark Hero. So, but yeah, I am...
And by the way, I just shared an image, Actually, no. Actually, I have I'm going to share 2 images with you on StreamYard's private chat, so you can share them on the screen if you'd like to show them what Powered Dada originally looked. The original Powered Dada suit looked like.
Oh, it's so kind you did that. I already have... It's so kind you did that, because I actually do have some backup Dada images of my own, so I'll just go get them from my folder. But I appreciate that,
Okay,
Andres.
yeah, because I think it helped if you were to show off what Powered Dada looked like, and then show the original Showa Dada.
Yeah,
or rather, a contemporary suit of classic Dada.
Yeah, compare and contrast.
And let's see here. We did have Laura, who wanted to ask if the white part of the Powered Dada suit from the screenshot you're showing right now is raised from the black part.
What does she mean by it raised?
Is it raised? Is it higher? Is the white part higher than the black part? Like Spider-Man, like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man's webbing is raised from the red and blue parts.
I'm sorry.
The webbing is on. If you look at Sam Raimi's Spidey suit, the web is on top of the red and blue part. So she's asking if the white part is on top of the black part.
Looking at
is the white part a separate layer?
I'm trying to answer the question. No, it's the whole costume is glitter. It's basically sequences. So they're not exactly raised from one another. They do give off that illusion, like, the white part is puffing up over the black part. But no, I think that's just an illusion from the suit itself.
That's her question. That's her question. Does it look higher?
Yeah, it does look higher comparing the two suits. But when you see the preview itself, no, the costume looks evened between both
Flat.
the dark.
Flat. It's one flat layer.
Yeah, from both the black and the white part. So, but yeah, okay. So sorry about that. I had to wrap my head around it. So, yeah, but no, it's ridiculously how faithful they were to the original suit. And it's funny, rewatching the episode again, I always assumed that the digital Dada's eyes were a reddish color, but they're actually a golden color. Meanwhile, with the updated suit, they made the eyes way more yellow and obviously so.
Saturated.
Saturated, yeah. Because that's the funny thing about kaiju suits. It depends on the outside lighting that makes Godzilla look like he's green. When in reality, we all know Godzilla is mostly charcoal gray. But because charcoal gray is one of those gradients that can absorb color lighting, he often comes out looking green depending on the landscape and the nighttime lighting and all that. So, all right. So, but
right.
yeah. So with
go
on.
It also doesn't help that with the lighting and the filming and the cameras, everything in Ultraman Powered all has a reddish tint to everything.
Yeah, exactly. And it also didn't help that in the rewatching the original Dada episode itself. Whenever they tried using like new high-tech computer effects to represent Dada's energy beams, Dada's energy beams, it's the quality of the filming goes down significantly, as opposed to like when it's just straight old school film stock. Dada looks a lot better. So, but yeah, I am 100% excited to see what they because it's like I was so sad that's like watching the preview. It's like, oh great, it's gonna be Gubira, it's gonna be Red King with a scarf. It's like we've seen it a million times, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Of all the characters to bring back, you decided to bring back that version. So that'd be like if they made a new Batman movie and they brought back Mr. Freeze from the '66 Adam West show. So, but with that said, Andres, what else did you like about this episode, or what else are you looking forward to next week's episode, if anything?
I definitely enjoyed the humor. This probably got like the most laughs out of me than any other previous episode so far. Let's see. I definitely enjoyed the chemistry behind the pirate and the treasure hunter. Oh yeah, you said you were going to explain to me what the deal was between the pirate and his little translator.
Yeah, I bring that up because Warrior King was a bit confused by it too. Okay, so the baby Xandiras. The Xandiras are a recurring race of flying space monsters. They first appeared in Ultraman 80, but even then, the best way I can describe the Xandiras, and it's pretty common and true to their appearances since Ultraman 80, they're sort of a species of slapstick Rodans. Because in the first Ultraman 80 series, it was basically kind of a bit of a fight between a father and son, much like imagine what would happen if Godzilla Minya had a blowout, an eventual coming together thanks to Ultraman 80 thinking to his feet. And then Xandiras appeared in more recent series like Ultraman X and Ultraman Z. No, did he appear in Ultraman Z? I think it may have been Ultraman Geed. Yeah, Ultraman Geed and Ultraman X. They brought back Xandiras, but they still kept the kind of lovable, comical, slapstick take on him. So I can understand, Warrior King, why you're confused, because in the past, the Xandiras, they've never talked at all. They've been like pure, like despite their intelligent, Simpsons sitcom personalities, they've never talked at all like this. So I think I think they created a new monster just to serve as a parrot, and they just went with Xandiras because Xandiras is relatively recognizable with today's kids. But I think it would have been better had they gone with another bird kaiju. But then even then, you'd be a little confused by what's going on. So.
All right, then.
Okay.
And let's see. Laura said, it looks like white latex painted on black cloth underneath. Wait, did he just say sequence instead of sequins? Most likely, Laura. And Brayden earlier said, Raph, stop pushing this misguided and, dare I say, harmful rhetoric that the sinister urge is in any way Ed Wood's magnum opus. Glenn or Glenda is by far his finest work.
Okay.
And then-
Glenn and Glenda is probably his best movie because it really came from a personal place. But as far as Ed Wood at his most competent production-wise, Sinister ARRGH, it's a horrible movie. It's a terrible story. It's poorly acted, but it's competent. It's just competent in its execution. I'm not saying it's a good movie. But yeah, there's a big difference between Neil Blomkamp's starting out with Elysium and then going to Demonic. All right, there's a better reference for you, you big baby.
I see. And let's see, what was it? And then Braden later said, "Dear God, yes, bring back Otto Preminger, Matt Reeves." I don't know what that's referencing.
Yeah, me neither. So, no, Laura, I watched the episode. I don't know what's underneath the sequences, but it is definitely a fully covered suit. So the black parts are also shiny along with the white parts. So, as you can see in this image right here.
And let's see. Warrior King also said, "Hey, Raph and Andres, what are your thoughts on Adad from the Ultraman manga/anime series?" And for reference, I sent you an image on StreamYard of Adad. So I guess for those who haven't seen the Ultraman anime, which is based off of the manga, it's set in its own continuity that is a sequel to the original 1966 series, in which the son of the main protagonist of Ultraman becomes an Iron Man-esque Ultraman-style hero himself, and he meets reinterpretations of classic Ultraman monsters and aliens, one of them being Adad, an homage to Dada. And in the dub, the English dub, I believe he is voiced by Steve Blum. And he is a really interesting character.
Yeah, it's well, it's a good thing they pick Steve Blum because it matches the character perfectly. Like, I love different variations of these different Ultraman monsters, but with is it the Ultraman or just Ultraman? Ultraman, yeah. With this new series, they kind of...
The Ultraman, that's like the 80s anime.
Mm-hmm. 1979 to 1980. So just to be...
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, but I don't know. I think they veer too far away from the original characters, and it kind of becomes less fun. Like, it almost comes off as Ultraman in name only. I still enjoyed watching it, but I also had to remind myself, yeah, you're not getting any kind of traditional Ultraman with this. But with that said, I think Adad was the best of the reimaginings of the classic Ultraman characters. Because Dada has always been kind of a unique, sinister being. So turning him into this kind of cocky... how should we say, I don't want to call him a Black Ops agent, but it's like, what's a good terminology? Sort of a spy or something of that nature? So, I don't know, but...
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of somebody like he's not exactly a James Bond type, but he's definitely like Cloak and Dagger type operations, and he has a sort of arrogant attitude behind it. And of course, the shocking reveal that he's not really the bad guy of the episode. Because it's like...
Spoilers.
Yeah. They'll watch it, they'll still be surprised. So, plus that's like, 7 episodes into the series. But yeah, Adad was a really cool character, and he's one of the main reasons I'm actually looking forward to seeing the second season. So I actually, now thinking about it, I think I just like anything that has a Dada reference in it. But yeah, there's the character on the screen right now. So okay.
And Brayton is responding to how? And he later said, he later explained to me that Otto Preminger is one of the most well-regarded actors in classic Hollywood and played Mr. Freeze from the 60s Batman, whom you referenced 10 minutes ago, Raph. Thank you very much, Brayton.
Okay.
He also directed Anatomy of a Murder, etc., etc.
Sorry, I was thinking of the George Sanders version of Mr. Freeze from the 66 Batman, so sorry about that. They had 3 different actors play Mr. Freeze in that old series.
Warrior King Forever says, "I do like Adad. He is such a smug bastard, and I like how creepy he looks. He reminds me of Garrick from Deep Space Nine."
That's a really good way to put it. Although, granted, Garrick was a much nicer person by comparison. So, okay.
And Brayden says, "This guy, in fact, kind of does look like Otto Preminger."
Just put a monocle on him; it'll match perfectly. Although I just changed the screen back to our main title card, since we'll be ending this in a relatively short time.
Yes, and let's see, anyone else? Okay, so Shay says, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but has Ultra 7 been in the most crossovers? I would not know about that because I don't really keep up with a lot of the crossovers.
Ultra 7 is, in my opinion, or the best way I can describe it using American pop culture as a reference, Ultra 7 is very much like Batman. He's a very popular character, and he constantly keeps popping up in Ultraman fiction.
Despite being the second, essentially the second hero after the first one.
Yeah, much like how
like
Batman came after Superman. But yeah, it's like
Right.
Ultra 7 keeps showing up in everything, especially throughout the 90s when they gave him his own standalone series, while Ultraman was basically just like... it's funny, they've given more shout-outs and lip service to Ultra 7 than they have to the original Ultraman. It's like Ultraman Geed itself was sort of a backdoor anniversary series, Ultra 7, hence the wide variety of Ultra 7-based villains and monsters that were constantly in that series. But yeah, I think it's safe to say Ultra 7 was in the most crossovers. And of course, Ultra 7 was, at least Dan Moriboshi, his human form, was a supporting character in Ultraman Leo. Of course, they barely did anything with that character outside the first episode. But yeah, I think that would be a good comparison between the two. We haven't seen Ultra 7 that often, however, and I think that's mostly
nor any of the Showa Ultraman, for that matter, as well.
Yeah, there was this really good... Like, the last time that happened was fairly recently. It was like one of the last episodes of Ultraman Z, where it was revealed Ultraman Ace was Ultraman Z's godfather. And it was cool because they had Ultraman Ace himself, the character, come by and help him fight against an obscure super monster that we haven't seen in ages, whose name I'm not even going to attempt to say right now because I don't know it. So, but yeah, that was a really good episode. So, Titan Goji is in the chat. So
I just said he was here.
Okay, I did not hear you the first time. So,
well, whose fault is that, Raph?
So, do you want to read the comment?
Well, if you insist.
I do.
Let's see. Titan Goji says, I feel like it's because Ultraman is quite literally the face of the franchise, and that constantly pushing him instead of 7 would probably get tiring.
That is true. I guess it's also similar to like how Superman is the face of DC Comics, but I guess people don't like Superman that much, and yeah, I don't know. It's like...
And Tokapung wants to say that Zero has been in the most crossovers.
Recently, before... Yeah, okay. He probably has a good point, because recently, after they introduced Ultraman Zero, which was a legacy character inspired by Ultra 7, ever since then, Zero's been the one who's been popping up everywhere. So...
True. And let's see, Warrior King also says, I do favor Ultra 7 myself over Ultraman, but both characters are very cool.
Indeed. So, although, are there any Ultra heroes you personally like to see come back in a future episode or crossover of some nature?
I would love to see Mebius come back one day, but I know that his actor has retired from acting, so I don't know if... That's the thing. It seems to me that Tsuburaya wants to bring back a character if they got the actor for them. It's not like Ultraman, it's not like Kamen Rider or Sentai where they just get any stunt actor to put on the suit and just have him pretend to be that character with no voice whatsoever or stock audio voice clips. It seems like Tsuburaya puts more care into their crossovers, and if they want to bring back a character, an Ultraman, they want to bring back the original actor, and those actors, older actors from the 60s and 70s, are getting up there in age. So I don't really see them potentially coming back anytime soon. If they do ever bring them back, they're probably going to have to start relying on voice actors or sound-alike voice actors to start portraying these characters again, unless they want to retire them permanently.
So with that
Titan Goji, they did brought Nexus back. I think, Nexus. They brought Nexus back in an episode of Ultraman X. He did not have a voice. Rather, he had a new host in the form of, I think it was the female captain of Ultraman X.
Yes, it was, and that was a very good episode. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. With that said, God, I was going to mention something. Is you've said in the past that one of your favorite Ultraman movies is the 8 Ultra Brothers with Ultraman Mebulus. And now looking back at that film, it does feel like the last hurrah for many of those actors who played the original Ultra heroes. So, which is, I don't know, I guess it's better to say farewell in that regard than say other franchises that kind of ignore their legacies and then just, go on, whatever. I'm losing steam here, so so we're going to go through our final questions. If you have any final questions, now's the time to do it. So, do you see anything interesting in the chat?
Let's see. Davis did say it's like how Spider-Man is the face of Marvel, yet Iron Man's getting shoved in everything.
Okay, yeah.
And Laura's like, it's almost like they are in fact in their 60s and 70s. Right, you are, Laura. Right, you are.
I'd make a joke about Ultraman in a wheelchair, but I won't.
Actually, I'm going to check how old Susumu Kurobe is, who played Hayata from Ultraman 66.
Yeah, and he was an actor who was still showing up in tokusatsu productions well into the early 2000s.
81 years old.
Really? He's only 81. Holy, was he?
What do you mean only 81?
I swear he would be a lot older than that. But it's like, what, when he was filming Ultraman, was he like 15 or something? I know he was young, but damn. So no, good on him. I'm saying I thought he was even older. So.
Okay, I heard you the first time.
Okay, exactly. All right, sorry about that. Okay, everybody, I think we're gonna. I don't see any other questions here, so I think we're gonna kind of end it for the night. So, do you have anything you'd like to plug or share with the audience?
Sure. Yes. If you haven't not heard about it already, I'll say it again, as I will every time. You can check out my indie comic, Primal Warrior Draco Azul, available on Amazon Comixology and Kindle. Although I did hear that Comixology is going to be folded into Kindle, so I suppose from here on out you can get my comic on Amazon and Kindle, physically and digitally. Also, you can check out my novel-length anthology book, Primal Warrior Draco Azul Full Metal Chronicles, which is a bunch of short stories, one of which will be featured, play a big part in an upcoming novel from Matt Denny and I, that being Atomic Rex, Ballad of Bravura. So if you like giant robots, if you like stuff like Gurren Lagann, or Gridman, or even old school robots like Mazinger Z and Getter Robo, do check out Primal Warrior Draco Azul. And you can follow all news regarding Draco Azul on Twitter at PW_Draco Azul, on Instagram at Kaiju Noir, YouTube at Kaiju Noir, and Facebook at Primal Warrior Draco Azul.
Okay, and I'll need to update some of the links we have in the description, because I have your Facebook, the Comixology, and the Amazon links, but I do not have the ones for Twitter or Instagram. So,
all right then.
Okay, and of course you can visit me at my official Facebook page, which should be open to all public members. ENSHOHMA Lives, it's in the description. You don't need to have Facebook to able to view it. My DeviantArt page, my official blog, and my Patreon if you want to leave a couple of dollars over there. So, but ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We will be ecstatic to see you next week, and until then, take care. So I am going to play us out some music for the remainder of the stream, so I'll get back to you in a little bit.
Shwatch!
Indeed. So...
Thank you.